time already gone, and it just doesn't matter at this stage. Comeback has to scurry away, and the comeback is done. BBL have managed to turn it from a 7-round deficit, winning them all in a row, to go 9 straight and win the map. And that is a...
Something strange has been happening in VCT EMEA. Gentlemates, the first team to ever ascend into VCT EMEA back in 2024, have choked leads in each of their matches in the last 3 weeks. First, it was a 12-6 lead against Foot on Lotus that ended in a 14-16 loss. Then a week later, it was a 12-5 lead against Heretics on Corrode that ended with a final score of 12-14. And finally this week, they had a 12-5 lead against BBL on Lotus, and it ended in a 14-12 loss. Today, we're going to take a look at a few of the rounds from this Lotus game against BBL, and we're going to see why this team choked so much. So it's round 20, and BBL started with some light A pressure before grouping as 5 to Exagon to C. BBL's comp has a Deadlock, who will throw her wall into Waterfall to slow down the rotates, and the team will scale up with a Fatal. BBL and Gentlemates trade out utility, which stops them at the choke. They then decide to open the door to B, which is a great decision by them because it pulls players away from C. Naturally, players want to take the shortest path to rotate, so they're going to go through Waterfall, but because the Deadlock wall is there, it slows them down. They have to spend ammo to break the wall and then reload, and then BBL turn back onto B. Mini does a great job to get a kill here. The Neon comes out to support his team, but the Omen ults too deep into spawn. This means he can't be there in time to trade and flood out with the team. Then, the Breach walks out by himself to try to equalize the disadvantage, and because all the trades fall into BBL's favor because they were all taking ones, the round ends up falling into BBL's hands. Mini could have also played this a little better by backing up after he got the first kill. You want to continue to isolate fights. Alright, I've pulled up a Valo plant so we can kind of take a look at what I'm talking about. So, in the original clip, Omen ults over here, right? And so he has to take a lot of time to run over here in order to support the team. What he should have done instead, either ult into this corner or maybe this corner. And what that allows him to do is be here earlier and get to this position. This position is super strong for the Omen to play because he's able to hold here, right? If our Viper dies, like they did in this clip, he's able to still have some control of the site. Or the other thing he could do is hold this other side of the pillar to make sure that this Omen who's crossing now, and these players over here can't just walk up freely and look to take a fight on Waterfall, right? Which is what happens in the original clip. The Breach walks out of here and the Deadlock just kills him. But if the Omen is here, they can't do that because you have a crossfire. You still have the ability to trade each other, right? And that makes it to where any player that tries to push up will be punished, or at the very least will get traded. Breach is allowed to come out of the Waterfall smoke, and then by this time Sova will be here. Sova will also be able to walk out now and trade. Now what you've done is you've divided the site in half like this. BBL has the left side of the site, Gentlemates has the right side of the site. And all that can happen if this Omen decides to position a little better. We're now on round 22. And BBL are going to keep it simple. They're just going to group up and do a C exec after taking control. BBL's Raze finds a pretty nice opening here, but you're going to notice that there seems to be something missing from the site defense. Mini has $700, but he did not buy a Viper smoke. This makes it really hard to hold C because you don't have the smoke acting as vision denial to prevent the Raze from being traded out. We're going to find ourselves in a similar situation again where the Breach has been blocked by the Deadlock wall and is unable to come onto site. He then decides to spray through the smoke instead of breaking the wall and coming to help support the Viper. This decision leaves our Viper totally on an island, and he gets shot in the side of the head, and because BBL have been so successful in taking site, they're allowed to leave a lurker, and the lurker finds 2 kills and ends the round. It's now round 23, and Gentlemates are totally lost. They put their Viper wall up as if they're going to hold some of the space deeper in A main, but then both the Omen and the Viper take fights before the smoke goes up. The round just completely snowballs out of control, and Loon is going to hit a nice ace. We're going to see in the replay that Gentlemate's Omen is totally caught off guard by how fast BBL is going to move in this round. But based on the utility that was thrown, I have to believe that Gentlemates wanted to take control of A Rubble after the early barrage of utility. So we're going to go over some quick Lotus theory when it comes to taking a main control. This is kind of the default wall that everyone throws. Looks a little bit like that. At the start of the round, teams are going to exchange a lot of utility. As an attacking side team, you're going to dump a lot of utility into this area, right? While the other team will try to dump a lot of utility commonly into this area. You know, if they know that your comp has some type of movement that allows you to cross safely into rubble, you'll see teams throw utility over there. So the purpose of this wall is to say, hey, you know, it's okay that you guys are going to take all this space early. We're not going to spend too much of our utility to contest it because at the end of the day, we are willingly surrendering this space to you. But afterwards, right, after you've used your Fade Haunt, your Deadlock Net, all that other util, right, we can turn around and throw our util right back and take back this space. It seems to me that there was some kind of miscommunication for Gentlemates where it seemed like the Omen wanted to fight for the space. As he opens the door and gets ready to walk out, is looking to throw a flash here. Sova Dart lands up here, and then he can feel confident enough to be able to TP up onto here and look for a fight, or maybe just walk across and look for a fight. Maybe Viper throws a supporting Molly that forces this raise out of that angle. What you should expect is a lot of utility to be included and a lot of bodies to be present, right? I would expect the Viper to also kind of walk up to here-ish. Holding the cross here prevents players from crossing because a lot of teams will throw a smoke here. And, you know, say you have an Omen here, right? It allows him to just focus on this angle right here and not have to turn around and worry about his side. Now, what Gentlemates fails to do is they don't actually contest the space, but the Omen still thinks they are. So he walks out by himself, gets caught off early by this raise. And now this Viper, who wasn't fighting but decided to, you know, play in this corner, maybe anticipating that a smoke would come and they would look for a fast exit, forget to clear him. He's now out of position. He wants to trade this Omen and look for a kill here. Honestly, it's a pretty fair 50-50. Does manage to get the kill, and with 2 players dead, that round is pretty much over. At most, you probably have 1 more player here, and with good enough spacing and trading, BBL should be able to just take the site and convert a 5v3 man advantage. It's now round 26, and as a side tangent, I don't know why Comeback keeps on deciding to opt from the lower angle. He should just jump on top of the box. He can still get away because he's Neon. And we're going to see again that Deadlock Wall doesn't get broken. Because of all the pressure BBL have put on C, it leaves B a little weak, and so they catch a nice timing on Gentlemate Sova. Breach decides to swing by himself into the smoke. Because BBL have better spacing, they manage to find the kill on him. They also find a kill on the player in Hobbit, which allows them to flip the map and go to A. From that point on, it's just about trading your man advantage and converting the round win.
Away, and the comeback is done. BBL have managed to turn it from a 7-round deficit, winning them all in a row, to go 9 straight and win the map. And that is a devastating way to lose this series.
So what did we learn? First, Gentlemates makes a lot of silly mistakes, like forgetting utility or not being on the same page. Unfortunately, in Tier 1 of Valorant, you only play like 10 matches a season if you're not a good team. And so I don't really know how much time you have to build that kind of chemistry and get over the nerves of playing on a stage. Gentlemates fans, I'm sorry, but your team consistently fails at one of the most important fundamentals of TAC FPS games, which is having good spacing. And the truth of the matter is, at a high level, when everyone has about the same level of skill, it really does come down to how well you are able to trade in space.